So you'll notice the temple picks up in verse 25, 26, and 27 when he gives the command to build a house to his name for the Most High to dwell therein. And some would say, well, wait a minute, does God really need a dwelling place? He has the heavens, and the earth is his footstool. Well, this goes back to the Old Testament, when God tells Moses that he needs him to build a tabernacle for a place where God can come and dwell with his people. It's this God with us. The tabernacle, the temple, becomes this connecting point between heaven and us on the earth. Sisters, brothers, God doesn't need a place to stay. We're the ones who need a place for God to come on the earth. He's already exalted at this point. He doesn't need a temple in order to be saved. But we need a connecting point with him. And he's asking us to make an offering of our money and our time and our talent to be able to create this connecting point for him and us, between heaven and us.
What's interesting is how he talks about build a house to my name for the Most High to dwell therein. So we do have these physical structures where God's presence can reside. Now, you can find God's presence throughout the world. But when you have a temple, you have a specific place where you know that you can encounter God. What I think is interesting is we've all taken upon ourselves the name of God at baptism. We are also temples. So look at this verse again in 27. Build a house or a body, think about your own personal body, to my name, for the Most High to dwell therein. So yes, temples are physical places where we can go encounter God, but our bodies are also temples where God's name and his presence resides. And if you think about your baptismal covenant and the sacrament covenant, you are reminding yourself on a weekly basis that God's name is with you and his presence is with you. So I just love the tie-in here.
Beautiful, beautiful. Paul would agree. Know ye not that ye are the temple of our God? Look at verse 28. For there is not a place found on the earth that he may come to and restore again that which was lost unto you. You could mark that. He's going to restore again that which was lost unto you, or which he hath taken away, even the fullness of the priesthood. So he's promising that you don't have a fullness of the priesthood yet, but I'm going to restore this to the earth. And then he gives more clarification with the baptismal font in verse 29 and the ordinance in verse 30, that particular ordinance, baptism for the dead, it belongs in my house, not out there in the Mississippi River or in the canals or in the lakes and the ponds. It belongs in my house. It's a connecting point between heaven and earth. And he says, he gives the command to build it. And then verse 32, at the end of this appointment, your baptisms for your dead shall not be acceptable unto me unless you do them in the temple. So it's in the General Conference of October of 1841 where Joseph tells them, you can no longer do baptisms until we finish the font in the Nauvoo Temple. Well, a month later, the font is completed. In November, it's now completed and they have a temporary structure built over. It's in the basement of the Nauvoo Temple so they can continue to do their baptisms for the dead. That's how important it was to them. They very quickly accelerated that process when they realized, oh, we can't keep doing it out here.